Hi everyone, this is Sunette, and in this video we're going to discuss the point of, where you're a person who sees yourself as generally calm, stable, very grounded and chilled, but there's these moments that comes up in your imagination, especially when someone triggers your emotional buttons inside yourself, and you, before you know it, find your imagination goes into violent outbursts where you, to a lesser or great extent, see yourself exerting some form of either emotional or bodily harm to another person. And it's like those moments shock you to the core of your being, because you don't see yourself, and you've never been a violent or abusive person, either emotionally or physically, toward another person. But yet, here it is coming up in your imagination unexpectedly. All right, so in this interview, I'm going to discuss why that is. Why does that happen? Where do those imaginations come from? What are those imaginations' relationship with emotional energy inside yourself? How is it that those imaginations are simply indicating to you that somewhere inside yourself or in your life, you're building up so much emotional energy inside yourself that your body and your mind is almost becoming this pressure chamber, right? That is pressurizing to a point of wanting to explode. And the only way where you can release all of that energy is through your imagination. Okay, so from a certain perspective, it's a good thing that all this emotional energy is only exerting out in your imagination, and that it's not going into actions, right? Where unfortunately it does happen to some people. So if you're at a point where these imaginations are still contained only inside yourself, you have the space and time and opportunity to understand why and to assist and support yourself, right? So let's start off with explaining how these imaginations appear inside yourself. One thing you've got to understand about the mind, and especially the imagination, is that the more, for example, emotional energy you have suppressed or contained or building up inside yourself, the more detailed and specific your imagination can be. For example, if you're just a little bit angry, okay, I mean, not really experiencing a lot of anger emotion, then you're sometimes just aware of the fact that you're angry. Nothing particularly comes up in your mind. But if anger builds inside of you and it becomes really intense, then you'll find your imaginations also become more detailed and specific, and having all these playouts and things of how you can yell and scream at a person, or in some way do something physical to them. All that's happening is that your imagination is translating the intensity of emotional or negative energy inside of you. So don't make the imaginations personal. Don't take them personally. What do I mean by that? I'd like you to do the following. I'm going to show you how, through these imaginations, you can access and find out where are you not dealing with your emotions, dealing with the things that you're experiencing inside yourself, but instead suppressing them and letting them build up inside yourself to a point of wanting to explode. When all the while you can live in such a way where you can deal with your emotions in the moment that they come up, and so not allow them to kind of get suppressed and then build up over time to a point where these type of imaginations start getting created inside of you, because a part of you has to release all of this energy in some way. And then also within that, making sure that you don't ever switch it into action where you start living out your imaginations. It's going to be consequential for you and another, when all the while all that was needed is you taking responsibility for your emotions in moments. All right, so first step is to have a look at any recent events where you went into your imagination. and you could see the play out happen, either yelling or screaming or punching or pushing or something happening, then I'd like you to just take a breath in and a breath out, calm yourself and your body, and I'd like you to identify, okay, what emotions are involved within this imaginations? What emotions contributed to creating this imagination inside myself? So then you go into as much detail as possible, having a look, okay, what did I feel in that moment? I felt angry. I felt frustrated. I felt irritated. I felt helpless. I felt powerless, so you'll find that there are a lot of emotions that you actually experienced in that one moment. And it's just like your mind took all of those emotions and translated them into a visual presentation in your imagination. Okay, so we don't want to focus so much on the visual presentation. We want to find out what's within it and behind it. And those are the emotions you'll identify. Then, once you take the next interesting step, which is to ask yourself, where in my life am I accessing these emotions in moments or towards people that I am not directing, that I'm not dealing with, that I'm not honest about? And it could be in your present life, and it could even be in memories of past people, past moments, past experiences. So you have to kind of open up your view and your scope of having a look at what still creates these emotional reactions inside yourself. Because it might not even be just that one person who you're exerting all your emotions out onto. They could be playing a role, of course, but you'll find that you have people in your life who just knows how to push your emotional buttons. And they're actually very specific, because what they're showing you, if a person in a moment can push a button where it's just like you explode inside yourself, or you go into that emotional energy, they're actually in the moment showing you, hey, you've been building up a lot of emotions inside of you. Why? What's happening? Where are you suppressing your experiences? Where aren't you sorting yourself out? All right? So it's like a wake-up call. Then, after step 2, in terms of asking yourself, okay, where else or towards who in the present or in the past, or it could even be, projections and worries and emotions about the future that's going on inside of you. I mean, all of this practical process may just assist and support you to take that step back inside yourself and your life that not many of us really tend to do. Just give a moment for yourself and really look at how many things are actually emotionally burdening you inside your mind. And a key factor of emotional burdens or emotional reactions is that they often indicate where and towards who you are reacting instead of responding in terms of finding practical, viable, sustainable solutions. What does that mean? That means, let's say you, for example, found that, okay, you're still getting angry and frustrated at your children because there's still a dynamic of laziness involved within them and their behavior. And so you see, okay, yes, day in and day out, you're still going into like frustration in relation to them. So now you've got to ask yourself, how am I going to assist and support myself as well as them? So I don't get frustrated, so that they also stand up within their laziness. Then you have a look at what are solutions. Solutions are having a look at how, okay, getting frustrated didn't help the situation, so let's make a plan. How can we structure more schedule, responsibilities, consequence, things like that, to really get the kids moving, and so also resolve your frustrations. So you'll most of the time find that whatever you are reacting to, whoever you're reacting to, it simply means that you're still just reacting to it. You haven't really sat down with yourself and looked for a solution for yourself and another. It can even be a past memory, where you went into an anger towards yourself for saying something stupid, and then every single time you think of that memory, you go into anger in relation to yourself. So then again, you've got to sit down with yourself, forgive yourself. It's a past, it happened. See if you can in some way clear the air with that person. Direct your reality, direct yourself, find solutions. So you can stop emotionally burdening yourself with things happening in your life, in the present, in the past, or in the future. Because all these things build up to the consequential point of creating these imaginations inside of you. And you can consequentially build it up to a point where it will become actions. Because there's just so much energy inside of you that you're not directing, that you're not dealing with, that you're not honest about. All right, so to effectively assist and support yourself, sit down, analyze the imaginations, identify the emotions, see where you're not resolving or directing things in your life, and start taking charge of yourself and your life. Thank you very much.